Hi there, welcome to Meet the Ministers. My name is Shaun Bindley and my guest on the program this evening is the Minister for Employment, Skills and Mining, the member for Stafford, Stirling Hinchliffe. Stirling, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to join me today. You've got an interesting background in property. You've got a teaching degree. What moved you to enter the political realm?
I guess I'd always been very interested in public affairs. I came from a family where, you know, the news was always a topic of conversation around the dinner table. Not a family in my immediate family that was directly involved in politics in any way, but public affairs were interesting and were talked about. I guess I was motivated to get involved and get engaged in politics directly because I thought that was a place where you could make a difference and make changes happen. And I guess my real direct inspiration in that regard was my grandmother, my mother's mother, who was a member of the Australian Labor Party in Rockhampton in her home. And she'd always taught me that if you could make a difference for working families, then the Labor Party was the place to do it. And I guess I was inspired to take an interest in that regard.
Think she may have had some plans for you fairly early on?
Oh, I think there's a common joke in my family, the way I used to argue and debate issues around my extended family. My mother's one of 9 children. Yeah. Around the extended family, there was jokes amongst my aunts that I'd either become a politician or a priest. So it seemed it was going to be politics.
Ever think about entering the priesthood?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So what was it about those conversations around the dinner table from an early age that kind of inspired you, that piqued your interest? Do you remember something in particular? Or was that point where you crossed over into an understanding of what your parents were talking about? You've got older siblings as well.
Yeah. I think the fact that I was the youngest of 3 boys, my brothers were 8 and 6 years older than me, meant that I did live in a bit of an older world. I sort of, was a bit old for my age, I guess. Yeah. And that meant that I took interest in things that maybe others didn't. When I was planning minister, I got a bit famous early on amongst the planning coterie of taking along this little a child's book of how to be a town planner, and I used to tell people that I'd bought this with my own money when I was a 7-year-old and 8-year-old, and that at the time I wanted to be a town planner, and most people tell me that other 8-year-olds don't even know what a town planner is. Yeah. So I think maybe I took a little bit more in from an older group and tried to reach up and stay up with my older brothers in terms of what they were doing. Was it a good childhood upbringing in Brisbane? You pretty much lived on the north side from a very early age. I believe you were born in Dalby originally. Yeah, born in Dalby. My father worked in the insurance industry, general insurance industry, for some 40-odd years. All the rest of my family are from Rockhampton, but he moved around a fair bit. The family went with him, of course. They lived in Dalby for a little while, but not too long thereafter, after a brief stay in Maryborough, we found ourselves in Brisbane and settled in the north side of Brisbane in West Chermside, where my parents still live, and where I live now with my own family. It was a really good supportive family upbringing. As I say, amongst a large extended family. A lot of my cousins I regard, I think I'm as close to as some of the people are to their siblings. I see them a fair bit and have a good bond with them, and we certainly spent a lot of long holidays visiting family in Rockhampton or travelling around other parts of the state and the country with them.
You still have a close family relationship now with your extended family?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I try to keep up with people. It's very hard balancing your very busy work life in this role with keeping those connections together. But whenever I'm in Rockhampton for work, I always make sure that I call in on one of my aunts or my uncles and say good day. Is
it something that a family is supportive of and proud of, having a member of the family in politics? Because it can certainly engender different feelings and different attitudes, I guess.
Oh yeah, and look, certainly I wouldn't say that there's a unanimity in my extended family of political belief.
And you probably wouldn't want it that way anyway.
No, it wouldn't be reflective of the wider community. Yeah. But I think people are generally quite proud of the things I've been able to achieve in a short period of time, and they're certainly very supportive, and I really, really appreciate that.
You go to them for feedback? Is that something that you can do?
Oh, I certainly do get feedback from my family and extended family from time to time, amongst a broader range of networks. You know, be it the families that I've married into, be it my community, my neighbours and friends, particularly friends through our children's involvement at their local school, or through other activities involved in. There's plenty of people who give me feedback, including my mates in my Thursday night Hacker League basketball team. They'll give me feedback from time to time, so it's all very useful.
Set a few stiff screens for you as well, just to remind you what you're getting yourself into.
That can be part of the fun.
How do you approach your day-to-day routine? I mean, we're going to go to a break in a second, and it's a very important part of making your life in politics is adjusting to the requirements of your time-wise. You're out of bed pretty early every day and probably getting home pretty late as well.
I guess the key thing is you're often really not the governor of your own destiny in that regard. There's a whole lot of expectations you have. You want to try and meet and work with people, but you have to be strong about the space that you need to reserve for yourself and indeed for your family and other activities. So I think it's always about trying to get the balance right. In all sorts of public policy areas that I'm dealing in, it's about trying to get the balance right. Yeah. And in my own circumstances with my daily life, it's about trying to get the balance right.
So what does your day consist of? An average day? Here's a Thursday where you're in here at 31 chatting to me for half an hour or so. What else would you be doing today?
Well, this morning I've made a couple of speeches at various places, had a couple of pretty important meetings about some issues, including one with a colleague. I attended the Executive Council with the Governor already today. After this meeting, I'm going off to some further meetings about important upcoming policy issues. Then I've got to head down to the Gold Coast to deliver a speech at a function tonight. So left home this morning at about 8 a.m. after chasing some chooks in the backyard that had got loose. And
just to make sure you start out on an even keel.
That's right. Yes. And probably won't get home tonight until probably around 10:30.
Yeah, okay. My guest on the program this evening is Stirling Hinchliffe. You're watching Meet the Ministers, and we'll be back after the break.